storage market's quite interesting because if it's working properly, we don't need to know anything about it.
Okay.
Because they have their own controllers in the batteries
Right.
that will work out how much they should store and how much they should use. There can be a little bit more intelligence added to that, and one of the future markets is peer-to-peer energy trading, where I can sell my energy to you.
Yeah.
I've got to use someone else's poles and wires to do it, so we don't have the regulation to support that yet. That was a major consideration when we designed the tech, that you can take it with you. So it's not a permanent installation. We make it difficult for someone to steal it, but if you want to, you bought a house or you're moving, you can just take it with you and stick it on your next meter.
Mm-hmm.
Apartments, it's a little bit different because quite often you don't have access to the electricity meter. So we have another clip-on sensor which goes in your fuse box inside the apartment. But yeah, it's built that way so that you can take it with you. We hope there's some commonality. There are different systems for identifying this, so we're not concerned about the differences so much. It's more of we're looking for major appliances that consume more than 200 watts, because they're the ones that will cost you money if they're used incorrectly, or have the possibility of burning your house down if they have to be left on and something untoward happens when you leave home. So it's not really an issue with that system. They're constantly learning, and this is the uniqueness of probabilistic machine learning, is that it's learning from identifying what might happen, and when it does happen, that improves the accuracy of the systems. And it's fed back so that everyone then benefits from it. So to give you an example, it gets down to a level where we can see from the signature that it's a Samsung washing machine, because that cold wash cycle has quite a unique signature in the energy domain. It's kind of a valuable data set. We treat the data really, we're very protective of the data in that we don't sell it to other people. We think it's the consumer's data, and our job is to interpret how to benefit the consumer from that extra knowledge that we're going to extract from the data. Mostly, it's a behavioural thing. It's just understanding. We can't control where the electricity comes from unless we opt in for green power. So then it's about not wasting energy. And there's some simple things around that. If you've got your air conditioner on, close your windows. If you've got your heater on, close your doors. These are quite well-known things, but a lot of us don't act on it because we don't know. And a lot of it's common sense. Unfortunately, sometimes Australian building standards are not that good, where they're a bit like leaky sieves, most houses, in terms of their energy. Putting good insulation in your house, making sure the windows and doors seal correctly. And then, if you're one of these unfortunate people that have a time of use meter, make sure you're not using anything between 2 and 10 p.m. At the moment, we're still running the self-funding campaign that we've got. So that's it will normally retail for $249 Australian dollars for the house and apartment version, and $100 more for the solar version. But during this pre-sales campaign, it's $50 off. So with the extra $20 card you've got in your hand, it's $70 off retail price. There's no ongoing charges.
So Donna, here we are celebrating Sustainable House Day as part of 1 Degree's lunchtime event. We'd love to welcome you to talk a bit about the day and how it started.
Thanks, Steph, and thanks for letting me be here. So Sustainable House Day has been running since 2001, so it's been running for quite a few years, and it started off as Solar House Day. But it's really expanded in the last 15 years to cover other aspects of sustainability. So we're looking at the thermal efficiency of homes, water conservation, waste, and also looking at how we can actually make some of these houses more affordable as well. So it's really expanding scope over the last 15 years.
Great. So what's been the driver to that change and increasing the scope?
think people wanting to make their homes more comfortable to live in. So most average houses in Australia average between 1 and 2 stars. They're really leaky, drafty. In winter they're cold, in summer they're hot. So it's trying to improve the thermal efficiency and the comfort of your houses.
Yes.
And then you actually get the extra benefit of saving on your bills at the same time as well. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot more people looking at how they actually can make their homes a lot more comfortable to live in, and then they get those extra bill savings and other quality of life issues as well.
Fantastic, yeah. So Sustainable House Day is this Sunday. So what are the things that people could expect by going to visit some of these houses?
Well, we've got over 200 homes open up across Australia, and they're very, very diverse. So we've got things like a rental student accommodation that's got battery storage. We've got a 10-star house that it doesn't have to pay any bills at all. We've also got people who are doing really quite amazing new renovations to their houses. But then there's also people who have just done those gradual improvements over time, so when they get a bit more money they can reinvest it into their home. So you can sort of find a house for any type of where you are in your lifestyle and what you want to do in your home.
Yeah, fantastic. So is there one house that you've seen over your years at Sustainable House Day that's really stood out in your mind?
Oh, there's so many, and my favourites change every day. So I'm really loving at the moment one of the houses that's opened up in Victoria, and it's all about multi-generational living, and we're seeing this come through a lot in houses opening up for Sustainable House Day. So not only is it very firmly efficient and they can actually keep their house at a really comfortable temperature, but they've designed their home so that later on in life you can actually zone it off and turn it into 2 townhouses. Yeah. So you might even have grandma and grandpa live in one part of the house and the rest of the family. So it's really interesting to see all the clever things that people are coming up to how to deal with housing affordability, and also how they can create a bit of a home unit as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And what do you think the future holds for sustainable houses? I mean, we've been hearing from David about some AI technology and some great devices out there. What do you think that the future holds?
We're seeing the 4 new trends that we've really noted this year. One is people switching up from gas. So this is creating all electric houses. So they're not having any gas getting pumped into their houses. They're using other technologies to heat and cool their homes, especially with air conditioner heat pumps. So people might know that air conditioners in their rooms can actually be used to heat their homes as well. We're also seeing other technologies like heat pumps for water heating, and people are starting to use that to heat their hot water as well. And with these different technologies, we can actually then look at not having gas connected to the house at all. You then don't have to pay the service charge for the gas being connected too. So that's one of the new trends that we're seeing coming through. Of course, the other trend we're seeing through is battery storage. Everyone loves batteries. Elon Musk just needs to put a tweet out and everyone gets really excited. So we're starting to see some of the battery storage coming through. It's still usually the early adopters, because if you're looking to use batteries to save on your energy bills, we're not quite there yet. It's probably going to be another couple of years. But there is quite a lot of people who've already got the battery storage in, or they're planning for it, so setting it up for in the future as well. And the other trend we're seeing is saying that multi-generational living. People like designing their houses so they can have different people living at different times, but also having it so your corridors are wide enough to get down like a pram, but also the corridor is wide enough to get down a wheelchair maybe later on in life. So designing for that as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So it's really thinking ahead as to how you use your home in the future as well.
Absolutely, and we at the ATA help people in working out what is your plan for your next 20 years. So people come to us looking for independent advice and sustainable living, and we go, well, what's your motivations? Is it because you want to save energy or save on your bills? Is it because you want to make a more comfortable home? Where are you in your life? Are you just starting a family? Are you an empty nester? And we can then start help developing for people like a 10, 20-year energy plan on what they should be doing in their own home.
So Donna, a lot of people here today have come because they want to hear about some tips for saving energy and cutting some costs on their bills, as well as helping the environment. What kind of tips do you have in that area?
The number one tip that we tell for everyone is to help seal up your house. So you can do that if you're a renter or if you own your own home. So that's going around your windows and your doors, sealing up any gaps, and you can get really cheap supplies at your local hardware store on how to do that. The second thing we encourage people to do is to insulate your home. So if you own your own home, like put in insulation, not just in your roof, but also underneath your floors as well as in your walls as well. So that's a tip we always make sure people do. And the final one is to go solar. Like, solar is so cheap now. You can get a payback period of between 5 and 8 years. So if you've got a nice north-facing roof or a little bit of west-facing, put solar on there because you can get a payback period between 5 and 8 years, and it's really good bang for your buck.
Fantastic. And how do you see apps and the iPhone that you have in your pocket coming into these sustainable houses? How does that interact?
I think they're a really important role. We actually find, especially when people put on solar, that they become energy nerds and get really obsessed with how much energy they're using in their home, how much is their solar actually generating. So people, when they do put on solar, really need those apps. And I know people who used to not care about their energy bills, but now they're looking at their app all the time, just seeing how much they're actually producing, going, oh yes, my son hasn't turned on the dishwasher at the time he said he was going to do it. So people can actually start tracking what's going on in their own homes.
Just as a final question, what's the number one thing that you guys would like to achieve for Sustainable House Day this year and in the future?
This year, just encourage people to go and visit the houses and just get inspired in what you can do in your own home. So every little bit counts, and it might be like doing some of the sillying up around the home we talk about, but it might be even looking how you can, next time you need to replace an appliance like your fridge or your washing machine, that you just get something that's at a high star rating, so it reduces your energy water use. So there's thousands of tips, and going to these houses, you'll get inspired and hear from the homeowners themselves what you can actually do.